Welcome back folks, new patch for Crimson Desert is out, specifically the patch version 1.02. This one is amazing because it adds the headgear visibility option and the increase to private storage, expanding it up to 8,000 slots. This has been heavily requested because I was also running out of storage, because when you have items like weapons and armor, then all of the crafting and refining like resources, it can honestly fill up fast, so just having it to 1,000 slots is honestly amazing. Additionally, they also tackled some of the movement controls, which I'm going to talk further in this video. And as always, this patch comes very early for me in the morning, so I had an ample of time to test it out and prepare this video. Also, by the time you're watching this video, the update should be available on all of the platforms, because keep in mind, when this came out this morning, something like PlayStation and Xbox were in progress because they were going through that certification process, so the patch should be available for everyone right now. Now, enough yapping, let's go through all of the changes, starting with content. So depending on your progress with the Greymane Camp expansion, the capacity of your private storage can now be increased from the starting 240 slots up to a maximum of 1,000 slots. And it's going to consist of 5 stages in total. So the first 4 camp expansions will give you plus 100 slots, and the final camp expansion is going to give you 360 slots, which, as I said, goes up to the maximum of 1,000 slots, and honestly this should be more than enough for everything. Besides that, they added an Abyss Nexus in Payloon, so keep a lookout for that. They also improved the visibility of explosive barrels when using the light reflection skill or when shining the lantern on them, because, well, the explosive barrels in this game are not like red as usually they are in video games, but they have the X on them, so a lot of people, when they were liberating quarries and so on, were being blown up, myself included, so it's kind of cool that they're doing it in this way, but they're going to be a lot more visible now. They also fixed an issue with combat missions, where comrades would not return until the mission timer expired if the mission was complete before the time limit. This is good because I was experiencing this issue, and even on some of the socials I saw people were complaining about this. They also fixed an issue where the Abyss puzzle state would reset when viewing detailed information of nodes via the map details menu in the Abyss. They fixed an issue where the character would become invisible if Abyss artifact was obtained before the Abyss completion cutscene played. They also fixed one of the, I think, major issues in my opinion, where the skills Healing Force Palm and Aerial Force Palm were also reset when resetting all skills, so this is going to be good now because this is sort of important. They also changed the design of certain gimmick monsters. I'm not sure, I was testing out to try and find it, but I couldn't understand which gimmicks of which monsters they have fixed. Also, they have added one new armor set and helmet for Cat, so go and check it out. They also improved the Abyss Skybridge gates so that the restored gates can be teleported to, and keep in mind that this change was applied in the previous patch. And they also fixed an issue where the bank investment refresh time would remain stuck in the refreshing state and not update. Also, for everyone who has been asking, the problem of people losing their gold within the bank investment has been fixed, but this was also fixed in the previous update, so you don't have to worry about it. When it comes to controls and combat, they also added the movement controls option. What does this mean? Well, you're gonna be able to switch now between the classic and updated ones, meaning the ones on release and ones they have been, working on with the previous update. So this is how it goes. The option can now be selected via the main menu, then go to Others, Settings, Input and Movement Controls, and offers 2 options, Basic and Classic. It also has a detailed description that can be found in the in-game options menu. So the basic movement controls means that you hold the sprint key to accelerate, and the classic movement controls means that you press repeatedly the sprint key to accelerate. I know some people were kinda talking about this, like, is it going to be better with this or with that? Well, now you can choose yourself. And also the stamina consumption for mounts has been adjusted, which is very good, because with the basic movement controls, holding the sprint key consumes stamina at set intervals, which has been, done in the previous update, which, people were kind of rejoiced for. And with the classic movement controls, stamina is consumed each time the sprint key is pressed. So you can pick and choose which one you actually want more and which one actually suits you better. They also improved the conditions for using the Abyss Nexus, allowing them to be used even while moving slightly, except in certain situations such as while mounted or using flight. And they also plan to improve this further in the near future so that the player character can fast travel even while on certain mounts. This is pretty good. Because usually what happens is that you're like walking somewhere and you press the map and you want to teleport and it says no. So now you exit the map and you wait for Cliff to just stop and stand in one place and then you can teleport. So this is actually now properly fixed. They also improved so that the flight skill can be activated even when holding the jump key in mid-air. They improved the responsiveness when inputting a jump after an attack. Also, they added an escape key guide when affected by elemental status effects, and they fixed an issue where the focus state could not be cancelled when using the aerial roll during flight. They also fixed an issue where weapons could not be drawn inside the Demoness castle under certain conditions, so if you're having this issue, I know some people were saying it in my comments, well, now it's fixed. They also fixed an issue where some bosses would teleport too far away during combat, and because a lot of, bosses in this game like to teleport, this is a welcoming change because they actually go outside of the combat arena or well that circle, which happens when every time like boss is activated, and if you leave that, like the boss could reset after a certain timer, so this is pretty good. They also fixed an issue where the double boost horse ability would not activate properly. Thank you, because during some racing scenes, like when I was trying to like race people, it was just delayed, so now actually having it properly like go, it's pretty good. Also, they fixed an issue where parry would not activate properly during focus when a two-handed sword was equipped, so I wasn't crazy, this was indeed a problem. They also fixed an issue where the camera would turn towards nearby enemy when aiming with a tool. They fixed an issue where certain interactions were unavailable while specific tools were equipped, and they fixed an issue where repeatedly pressing the sprint key would allow the horse to run at maximum speed regardless of its stats. When it comes to quests, they fixed a, I think, major issue in chapter 6 where the quest progression became unavailable after defeating a boss following a save load under certain conditions, obviously without spoilers, but this was sort of important because it was hindering the progress of some people. They fixed an issue where the quest progression became unavailable if a related item was sold before starting a rumor fueled by greed quest. And also they fixed an issue in chapter 11 where the inserted key could disappear from the bag, preventing related quest progression. I'm not even close to chapter 11, but I know that, just having any sort of like prevention in the quest progression in whatever reason that stops people from moving the game forward can be game breaking, so I'm really glad they're actually tackling this. When it comes to the NPC and NPC Dialogue, there was only one change. They fixed an issue where certain quest related NPCs would not appear. I think this is mostly related to the Greymane camp, but keep in mind in some of those cases it also depends what people you send on missions, so if they are busy on certain missions and they're doing something, of course they're not going to appear. But of course this can be also related to some other quests, but that's at least what I experienced myself. As far as the UI fixes and improvements go, they improved the item use notification in the bottom right corner so that using it will select the item directly. Thank you for this. They also improved the shop UI so that the sealable items are prioritized on display. They also reorganized certain positions and content of the key guide displayed in the bottom right corner to improve visibility. They improved the UI so that the save game and load game menus are separated and added the save slot number labels. Big, thank you so much. This has been, at least for me, highly requested. They also fixed an issue where the minimap scale would reset while riding a mount at maximum speed. As far as the keyboard and mouse goes, they fixed an issue where the mouse cursor would appear in the storage menu. Yeah, this has been happening honestly since the release of the game, and I was wondering why, but I think it has to do something with the game trying to switch to a controller in some cases, because even if you don't have the controller inputted in your PC, the game will prioritize like that layout before you like start pressing keyboard and mouse, and then it switches to it. They also fixed an issue where the item movement would not work properly when entering the horse inventory menu in certain circumstances. They also fixed an issue where certain menus would occasionally not respond to interaction or appear visually awkward. They also fixed an issue where crashes occurred when entering or using some UI menus in certain circumstances, and also they improved the game so that the stow weapon key guide is displayed while in combat when mounted. Now, as far as graphics and settings go, I think this is very important for a lot of people because, first off, we have the headgear visibility option in the settings, language, and gameplay. So the following options are available to choose from: always show, show in combat, hide in cutscenes, and always hide. So now if you have a certain, let's say, helmet which maybe does great stats but you don't like how it looks, or maybe you just want to remove the helmet during cutscenes because you want for that roleplay purposes, well, you can now do it. And additionally, a feature to hide weapons shown on the character back, which many players have requested, is also planned to add in the near future. So yes, I think this is finally going to mean that probably we're gonna be able to remove our shield. Now, besides this, for PC, PlayStation 5 and Xbox and everything else, so if you're using FSR, they have improved the FSR upscaling quality, and on PC they apply the FSR SDK 2.2, so it also should improve the FSR frame generation quality. On PC they also fixed an issue where the GPU memory usage would increase when the DLSS ray reconstruction option was configured, and also they improved the GPU load and shimmering in certain circumstances when FSR ray regeneration and DLSS ray reconstruction was enabled. They also fixed an issue where foliage and certain other elements were not rendered properly in ray trace reflections when FSR ray regeneration or DLSS ray reconstruction was enabled. Also, they fixed an issue where the top of the screen would flicker when DLAA in HDR options were enabled. And for the end, PC-wise, they fixed a rendering issue affecting the character's face indoors when graphics preset was set to low. As far as the PlayStation 5 goes, they applied the upgraded PSSR sharpen feature on PlayStation 5 Pro, improving the image sharpness. So if you're playing on PlayStation 5 Pro, go check it out. Because they also applied the upgraded PSSR native AA to quality mode on PlayStation 5 Pro. And as far as the Xbox is concerned, they fixed an issue where the VSync behavior would change when pressing the home button, and also they added the 4K upscaling option to performance mode on Xbox Series X. When it comes to performance, stability, and gameplay, they fixed several stability, performance optimization, and crash issues across PC, console, and Mac. Keep in mind the fixes were not specified. This is basically what they said. When it comes to my frame rate and everything, it pretty much stayed the same, which I was already happy with. So yeah, that's how it is right now. Also, localization. They fixed various localization errors and improved localization for quality, game advice, etc. across all languages. For the others, they have fixed an issue where certain walls and corridors of the void were missing. They improved the sound so that the sound position changes together with the camera perspective. This is really nice. And they fixed various other in-game issues. When it comes to other fixes, they fixed an issue where the weapon would not be visible when using stab ability while unarmed was equipped as a secondary weapon. Also, they improved the UI so that the license information can now be viewed in the credits, and also they fixed an issue where the audio volume would become low when an NPC won in minigames such as Duo, and for the end they fixed an issue where the background audio would become distorted in certain locations and situations. So yeah, so far patch 1.02 is good because they of course did some of the things people were asking for, and specifically when it comes to FSR and ray regeneration and ray reconstruction. But I think the biggest winners for me of this patch is just having more slots in my private slot, because honestly by now, like yesterday, I was just trying to see what can I actually get rid of, and I'm a bit of a hoarder when it comes to this game because I like to have as many refining and resources I can get, because I never know if I'm going to find a weapon or piece of armor which is quite good and I just want to start upgrading it, and there was no more option for me. So just having 1,000 slots at the end of the camp expansion is fantastic. I mean, of course, when it comes to some of the other issues and things where, people were talking about, we already know they have some stuff planned in the future, like just the ability to remove the shield and just have that sort of customization, which is pretty good in my opinion, because, I get it, that's sort of a Cliff's identity to have a shield on his back, regardless if you're using it or not, but just having it removed, I think, makes more sense. Although I understand why they have to work on it for a longer time, because in most cutscenes, like in most boss fights and stuff like that, Cliff is going to default to his shield and his one-hander, regardless if you're using a spear or if you're using a two-handed weapon, which is not technically considered a part of the main one. But also, I do want them to also add the ability so I can recolor my two-handed sword. Right now, I can only recolor my primary one-hander slot, and I was trying to figure out if that's something I have to do in-game maybe to change it, but no, it was not available for me. I just could not recolor some of the two-handed weapons I got, but I can recolor my one-handers. It does not make sense. So what, in about next 5 to 6 days we should be getting another bigger patch, but of course keep in mind during the week they're probably going to issue some of the hot fixes as well. So that's everything for today. I was quite happy with this, honestly. I just love the way they're doing these patches this fast and how they're tackling all of the things that people were requesting. Of course, you can always report an issue to them, and you have the link down below with the known issues which are being investigated right now in case you have a problem with this game and just want to find out if your issue is known or not. So thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, consider liking and subscribing for more Crimson Desert. Also tell me down below what do you think about this patch, and also check us out on Twitter and Discord if you want to join the community where we constantly talk about Crimson Desert. And huge thanks to my Patreon supporters. This is LKM signing out, and I will see you very soon with a new video. Bye bye.